Dictators doesn't start by banning votes. It starts by controlling narratives, controlling the rights, controlling the so-called fundamental rights that we have. The most dangerous dictators are those who are elected again and again. So yeah friends, this is Sanshika Singh Rajput, and on this channel we think, discuss and talk beyond marks. And today we are just going to talk on this type of fabulous topic, which is democracy and dictatorship. Many of you have questions like the government, like today we have, if the government start controlling our media, courts, and start passing their laws which make only that people benefit. So this is not called democracy. That converts itself to dictatorship. And today on this video, I'm not gonna tell you that our government is dictatorship or democracy, but I'm just gonna tell you this how to find out that is a government is dictator or democracy, literally. Because by just labeling on the top that it's a democratic country doesn't mean it's really. So let's begin with this. First of all, what is democracy? Democracy is like freedom, the freedom of speech, the freedom of asking questions, the freedom of having equality in our country, the freedom of religion. Okay, matlab no interference of the government in our daily basis of life. Okay, let's be logical, because in on this channel we only talk in the logical way. And one truth, that the people who are on this channel, they only love politics and know the language of politics. And that's a fabulous thing, because very umpteen people are there who know this language. Let's begin with this and let's be logical. See around us. See around us, and can you see us working equally in equal jobs? Like, yep, nobody can be equal in a country, but just see yourself. Do you get equal rights? The equal rights of working anywhere? The equal rights to get treated yourself? Maybe some people not, but do you get equal rights when somebody asks you questions and they don't take your caste name and just take your name and say, hey, can you tell me this question before asking anything? That is democracy. Media, court, equality. When these all things is controlled by one person, or it's controlled by one person but made changes in these things for the people, then it's democracy. हाँ, पता है ये सब थोड़ा तो like conjuncted है, but है तो, and that's matter only. We have equality, we have courts, we have medias, and that matters only. That we have. Democratic government has secularism. What does this word mean? Secularism. Secularism means distancing the state from the religion. Distancing the state from the religion. I'm not talking about the state like the Uttar Pradesh. I'm not talking about the state like Maharashtra, Jammu Kashmir, or the so-called 28 states. I'm talking about the state, it means India itself. Or the state means the America itself. Or the state means Russia itself. Not the one only. Okay, so secularism means distancing the state from the religion. Okay, and in India, one fact, that is, in India, crows and swans are treated equally, like they are equal. So we can say that, yeah, India has secularism and we are a secular country, democratic country. And we have strategies of secularism. The strategies, if we talk about this secularism, that we have the strategy of distancing itself from the religion. Our country, our constitution has a strategy of secularism, that is distancing itself from religion. strategy of non-intervention, and the strategy of intervention. The last one is very fabulous, like the strategy of intervention, because most of the countries don't have, and this that makes Indian secularism different from the other countries or Western secularisms. Strategy of intervention. Okay, strategy of distancing itself from the religion. Strategy of distancing itself from religion actually means, let's be logical and take example from the past things. Like, if you have seen in the British era, when it was the British era, and India was in the colonization period, the so-called colonization period. In that period, when the reforms, you can take the example of the reforms, like the reforms were when they were taking actions to stop the sati pratha, when they were taking actions to stop the remarriage of widows, and many other reforms they were trying to take in India, which was very wonderful. So many people think that reforms were nice, then why the protest and all? The protest came, that's why, because India have a lot of disbeliefs. And when we take example of the disbeliefs, that if state is interfering in the disbeliefs, so some things can affect the Indians or peoples like that. Like, he's interfering in our religion. They are making a religion bad, or they're changing a religion. That's the Britishers were wanted to do something nice, like reforms were nice, but India took at it, the people took it like in the bad way. So that's why I think it's a strategy of non-interference in the religion, which the Indian constitution have. Strategy of distancing itself from the religion. Indian government and the people who make the constitution are very, like, they have the extraordinary mind. They made this strategy because they were knowing that if India will make sure and they will interfere in the religion, like Indians' religion, so definitely there will be some mistakes. People, like, the reforms came by the Britishers to make some reforms, like the so-called nice things in Indian society. But you know why? The people thinks that when reforms come, and take it as like somebody is in the prime minister of India, or the president. You can take an example of, like, USA's president Trump is there, and if you take an example of Donald Trump, he's a wonderful president, and if he makes changes in the religion and laws, so-called laws, he belongs to a particular dharma. Suppose he belongs to the dharma Hindu dharma. Okay, he belongs to the Hindu dharma, and he makes some changes, and he likes Hindu dharma a lot. He influenced that laws in our country, and while influencing that law, he thought that, yeah, I'm doing something nice. But the people in the country, they are saying like, oh, his particular dharma and he's influencing his own dharma, so definitely his dharma of Hindu dharma will be influenced in the country. Many people will start following that. Then what about the Islamic dharma? What about the Christianity? And what about the different dharmas which people belongs to? That's why we have the strategy of not intervention or distancing itself from the religion. Okay, that's why we have the strategy that no people of the government can interfere in the religion. Understand? Okay, now the last one, which is my favorite, strategy of intervention. So strategy of intervention is like a fabulous thing. Suppose there is a very beautiful dharma, the dharma of Islamic dharma, or you can take the Hindu dharma, because the people of Hindu dharma are very peaceful and cute, so they don't so suppose you are belonging to a Hindu dharma, and there is some disbeliefs in the sense that if you will kill the animals, and you will give that animals to the gods will praise you, they will be happy by you. And that kind of disbeliefs when happens in that society with a large scale, which was definitely having at the tribal area era, when there was like a lot of tribal people were there in India, many people were there, so they were doing this kind of things. In this type of things, the natural biodiversity, the people are affecting themselves. At this point, that is a disbelief. So at this point, the government will have to interfere in this matter, and they will have to make some laws in this. So that is the strategy of intervention. Like if you are harming your own self, if you are making your own self in the damage, or damaging the biodiversity, or damaging something else, so definitely they will interfere in your law, in your religion, and they will make laws and reforms in it. That is the strategy of intervention, and this strategy USA, France, and many other countries don't have. That's why we are different from the other countries' secularism. They are have the democratic government, but we have the democracy, and we have the secularism also, which is like that. If you will go in, American states, USA, you will go their countries. So there you will see the students or the people just moving from one place to another. They don't wear the like pagaris on their head. They don't wear the burqas. They don't apply the tilaks on their heads. Nothing, because that is strictly said no. Do all things in your home with closed doors. You don't need to do this kind of things outside your home, because that is affecting this kind of things. Their people don't have the right to do that. So they, here in USA, there is a rule that state and religion is way different. They both can't interfere in both of them religions. Okay, so that is the thing, that Indian secularism is different from the other countries' secularism. Let's come on the dictatorship. The next point, which is that dictatorship, and let's relate both of them. We will relate it, and we will understand that how can a democratic country behave like a dictatorship, and how you have elections, you have rights, you have everything in the country, but then also just beside your back, everything is like a dictatorship and working like a dictator, but you don't even know about it. So yes, next topic is dictatorship. What a next topic. The next point is about dictatorship. Okay, the moment of truth and the $1 trillion question is that if you don't have the secularity, no independent judiciary, no concept of fundamental right, then what we should call about it? So then you should call it the dictatorship, the so-called dictatorship. You know why dictatorship is like you don't have equality, no media, no courts, nothing of that. But in democracy you have everything. How you can connect both of the points together, and you can say like dictatorship and the democracy are both of the like interconnected things. Democracy. In democracy, you have media, independent, court, independent, equality, obviously, and the fundamental rights, which we have in India. And you have everything in democracy. Dictatorship. Like, suppose your courts, you have the courts. Okay, in India, what happens? Let me tell you. In India, the judges are elected by the political leaders. Judges are elected by the political leaders. Boom. Can you connect it? Because you are from this channel, so I think you should know, and you should connect this all things together. India have the political leaders who actually elects the judges. Yup, I'm talking about the judiciary. You know, when political leaders elect judges, yes, I know that when once a judge is elected, once everything is done, they can't be blah 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 blah. But basically, that is the main point, that it is elected by them. So, suppose you have a land beside the 6th lane, and that land is very costly. Let's take a very deep example. That land has very rich alluvial soil and wonderful. So a political leader just came and said that I want that land without paying anything to you, without asking you and everything. Just he got to the court and just wrote his name and everything. Like, that is a bit constructed thing. So he did that things. You can't do anything because the court, the judge is in the favor of this. Now the judgment which is going to happen in the judiciary is partial to that political leader, and you can't do anything. So this time you have an independent judiciary, but at some point it becomes partial, because a judiciary or a judge or a court should be impartial. And we have a common phrase which is justice delayed is justice denied. But here you have the justice, you have the equal courts and everything, but then also your justice denied because that everything. So this is the fact. And even suppose like you have the police and everything like independent, but if India, what happens that when you pay something to the police officers, like commonly we talk about it. I don't think that is actually happening, but yeah, commonly we talk about it. If you pay something to the police officer, so he just what he do, he just changes all the reports and everything, and he makes the guilty person as the winner and everything, so-called things. So in that kind of things, you have an independent police, but then also the democracy, which you should have, your equality rights and everything is getting violated. And yeah, so this was the common examples I gave you. um, and yep, and like you have media, and in the video I also tell that silence is also political. When you be silent, so it's a political thing. So in the media, which is independent media, but when you raise voice in media, the people like political peoples and other people just came on the media and just violate you, just say bad words to you and just things and say no to you to do that, because you are raising voice there. So at this point your media also get connected to various things. So that's why at some point the democracy becomes a dictatorship, because the points like media, court, equality, and that things are not majorly like connected, but some points it has some defects also. So it becomes dictatorship, and many countries also have the dictatorship, because like North Korea, that is everyone knows that. But we are talking here the democracy which behaves like democracy, but behind it it's a dictatorship. Okay, suppose like one political party is there, which is being elected by the people very times, like very one times, two times, three, four, and five, six. So there are many often chances are there that political party is doing something things which is not the right one. Or if he is elected by the people, like you can take the example of Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump, and our president, our prime minister, and that people elected so many times by the parties. So they, sometimes in the human mind that comes that we want to be in this political party for a long time. If you are in the power, you will need to be in the power. Like if you are the class topper, so you will have the feelings like no one can be class topper, but just I am the one who can top. So this kind of feelings come, that is normal. But when they start using their powers, like they start manipulating courts, like Donald Trump start manipulating that courts, start manipulating the social medias, and start capturing the medias, the so-called news channels. So that times it becomes a dictatorship, because yeah, and many things they do behind the TV, behind the social media, behind the things which common people don't know, but they actually know what they are doing, and we don't know that things. So at this point it becomes a hidden dictatorship, because they are doing something to make themselves still in the power, because everyone wants to do that. They want themselves to be in the power, and for doing that they are doing something things which can make the rules violate, which can do something bad, but yep, they are in the still power because of that. And that is what democracy and dictatorship is. And you should think about it like this. If a political party is for a long time, like one, two, three, four, twice, fourth, and many times he is in still power, what is the reason behind it? Because people around you are saying that this political party is bad, he did that, and even that no one is electing him, no one is giving vote him. Then how they are becoming in this power, how they are getting the power? That question comes in many times in our mind. So this means that behind something, common chances there, like 20-30% of chances are there that he is doing something which is making them to be in power, like commonly that is. And if you have the functioning human brain, and if you are the follower of this channel, so you should have this question in your mind, that is the problem. So yep, this friends, this was the topic, the democracy and dictatorship. Just go and just sit at a place and ask yourself that, is our country a dictatorship or a democratic country? Okay, and do a little bit research also on this topic, because it's a fabulous topic. And comment below that I have done something wrong in this video and something wrong I have told you. Just tell me. We are a secular country, and here crows and swans are treated equally, so I'm not saying we can okay, so you can comment down, subscribe this channel, like it, because this is a channel where we think, discuss, talk beyond marks, and no one needs marks, just they need the knowledge, and yep, we give here. So friends, this was Anshika Singh Rajput. Thank you.